Hello and welcome back to Bohemian Dragon. I am your hostess, Lori. All right, let me take 2 seconds here and make certain the chat's actually going to behave itself and come up so I can see what you happy people are saying. All right, chat is up. I'm getting emails. Oh, I'm getting a promotional for my own live. Great. That's wonderful. All right, thank you, YouTube. I love that you can send it out for me, but you can't send it out for anybody else. All right, anyways. We're going to start out today. I wanted to quickly go over some of the past projects that I've covered on this channel, just to kind of give you guys a little update of where things are going, because it's always nice to positively share projects that are successful and all of that, and share in the joy of success, because we need to celebrate each other's successes. And I've talked about these a little bit before, but so Midnight City Tarot Deck, she released an update saying that the money has been released to her from Kickstarter, and so she has sent the deck off to the printers, and I am super ridiculously excited to get my hands on this. I have a funny feeling that this deck is going to end up becoming my new read deck. Currently, the deck that I use to do readings for other people from is the Enchanted Tarot. Unfortunately, the publisher of that particular deck, well, the people who created that deck, Amy Zerna and Monty Farber, they're amazing people. Unfortunately, their publisher that they work with is less than stellar. And so the quality of their decks, unfortunately, is just not there. They released an anniversary edition, and the cards, I guess, are ginormous. Like, I saw pictures of them; they're like huge, even bigger than the original OG. So. That's a little disappointing. So it's a deck that, while I have, and it's much loved, like I have a reading version of it, that it's easy to shuffle and stuff. There's just the cards were just not very quality, so they started falling apart. But I have a funny feeling that this deck is going to become my new go-to deck once it's in my happy little hands sometime late this early fall or late summer. So coming up here to Tarotbot. They've got 5 days to go. They are well past the funding. I'm super excited to see the extra cards that are coming out with this particular deck, and I hope at some point, because Michael is incredibly gifted and talented, that he has talked about making an oracle deck, and I really hope that he does decide to do that, because I think that he has a grasp or a pulse on things that others don't necessarily have, in terms of iconography and symbology and all of those things. The Puzzle Tarot deck, which is one that it's on the other end of the scale. It's less cute and fun and happy, and more on the kind of the creepy and the macabre side. But I did go ahead and decide to back this deck, just because, again, also, and Matthew and Michael. It's so interesting that they both have names that start with M. I wonder if that's a trend. But Matthew has this very unique view also as well, and he's got the negative arcana that's coming out with this particular deck. So I'm find that non-traditional decks, I'm kind of gravitating towards them. I will say that doing these promotions has been slightly hard on my pocketbook, because here I am and I'm backing 5 decks now. And then I went ahead and backed the Wisdom of the Sacred Bee Oracle. I think it is a beautiful deck. Kelly has met all of her stretch goals, so we're getting the gilding, we're getting extra cards, all of those fun things. I just think it just is really, really neat, and it's a beautiful Oracle deck. And I'm super proud of these guys for making their funding. Now, the next one I wanted to talk about is actually one that has just released, and this is the Phantom Multi-Dimensional Tarot deck. Now, I've mentioned them as an upcoming project previously, and as you can see, they're within the first 48 hours of their launch, and they're already well over where they need to be for this. I mean, she has done Lamucci Designs, and I remember her first name off the top of my head, but she has done an amazing amazing job promoting, like self-promoting this deck and growing her following and everything, and the artwork and everything. And I love, love, love the idea of an AR app that is tied in to this deck. Um, and just loving everything that has to do with this deck. I'm gonna go ahead and play the video. I don't think I played it the first time. Ooh. Blue foil, loving it. Really hoping this music's not copyrighted. I guess we'll find out, huh? See, this is the fun thing about this app, is that you can take a picture with it, and it'll show, like, it talks about the different, like, spreads. It will pop up and it'll talk about all the different iconography, and you can, like, interact with it and stuff. So if you're trying to learn the specific symbology as to why it is included in a traditional tarot deck, this is going to be I can just see this right now, this app being, the app alone being a huge, like, learner's app. Previous to this, I had been recommending the Labriothos, I'm probably butchering that, app for people who wanted to learn kind of like tarot symbology and stuff. But I did feel like, even though the app was very accessible and it was free, I did feel like the app was missing something. And so I kind of feel like Phantom's app here is really going to be that missing key. And I just love that she's taking this technology and, you know, something that's very traditional, these playing cards, and she's mirroring the two. So I'm super excited. I did go ahead and back this. And if it calls to you and speaks to you, I hope that you'll back it too. Now, moving on to other newer projects. Now, there's a lot of tarot decks that are well crafted, and oracle decks as well, well crafted and well sponsored and well talked about and stuff. They get, you know, typically they reach their funding. I mean, even if they, you know, have only a few short days or whatever to go, and they're, like, you know, most of the way there, they usually get their funding. The ones that don't, it's usually they just don't put enough into the, you know, the campaign. So this Allymans Tarot, I was gonna, you know, talk about it before they launched, and then they launched, and it was funded in under 12 hours, which I think is great. It's a mismatched tarot deck made up of 133 cards, so it's definitely not your average cup of tea. So if you're looking for a very non-traditional deck, this might be the one for you. It has already reached its funding goal, which I think is amazing. And it's, in a lot of ways, it's less of a tarot deck to use for reading, so you absolutely could, and more of a, hey, this is a bunch of really cool artists, let's collect each, you know, a piece of their artwork, you know. And two of the tarot authors that I've previously talked about who have decks that I am pledging to also have creations in these particular decks, or into this particular deck, which I just think is awesome. The only thing that, oh goodness, sorry, the only thing that gets me, and the reason why I'm not pledging is that I get the concept behind it. I get that it is kind of like, you know, I filtered through the trash can to find what I could use type of a tarot deck, which there's some definitely what I would call survivors feel to it. So, you know, if you're one of those that you like to rescue previously loved things, this deck might be, you know, definitely right up your alley, pun intended. The only thing is that a lot of the artwork I'm not too particularly thrilled with. Like, you know, the individual authors who have contributed, whose decks I have backed, of course I love their artwork. But a lot of the rest of it, because he does take some of the artwork from old, out of print decks that are now in, the term will come to me. They're out of copyright range. So they're common, Creative Commons, and so the vintage artwork and stuff like these here for the wands, it's cool, it's neat, it's just not my cup of tea. So, and then of course it's all very mismatched and there's not anything that ties it together. And even though I'm very much with my ADHD, like kind of all over the place and like a little bit of chaos, this is just a little too much for me. But I could see the appeal. And clearly there's a lot of other people that see the appeal because it is well over its funding. So that's exciting. Let's talk about a different one. So this one released, I believe, today or yesterday. So this is a Lovecraftian inspired tarot deck. So if you were a fan of H.P. Lovecraft's, like, weird stories and published works and stuff, this, and the stuff that comes from it, this might be the thing for you. Or if you're like really big into, RPG board games and that kind of sort of thing, this might be the deck for you. Uh, I do have some concerns with this deck. I mean, the author is showing off a lot of artwork and stuff, but he's saying that he is limiting it to just the major arcana. Now, do I have a major arcana deck? Yes, I do. It's one that I found at the thrift store. I have it, but I don't read from it. It's really hard to read from a deck that small, and get a true full reading. Uh, there's some other things like he's using 280 GSM Blue Core Standard. Now, if you want a high quality deck, you need at least 300 Black Core. So there, I feel like there's some corners possibly being cut here on that, quality wise, versus the funding that he's looking for. But he's got to do what he's got to do, and it may be a situation where because he's in Switzerland, he just doesn't have access to a printer that can do something that's better quality. That it very well could be. Um, there's some, and people in the comments have made some concerns. I'll go ahead. Um, like right here. So unless the project reaches 400K, everyone will be receiving incomplete decks. Is that correct? And he said, hello, I've made some modifications to the stretch goal. All tiers will receive the full when we reach 25K. So he's basically said that you're not going to get a full deck if you back it unless it reaches this ginormous stretch goal. And unfortunately, you get somebody like here where Connor, who is a super backer, that means that he has been somebody who has backed a lot of decks and supported a lot of artists and stuff. He says, hi, I've backed this project, although I will likely drop my pledge in the event that the goal for the complete deck, major and minor arcana, isn't reached. I suspect I will not be the only one to do so. I could wait for the stretch goal to be reached before backing. However, if everyone did so, the goal wouldn't be reached. So, there's, you know, the other thing is that in the risks and challenges, he says that there's some conflicting information about whether or not the artwork is complete. And realistically, if you're going to come into doing something like this, a Kickstarter stuff, you really want to have the project pretty much nailed down. And that's true for any crowdfunding thing. If you come into it and you don't have the project nailed down, it's gonna really hurt your funding. Okay, moving on, the Luminous Tarot. So this one came out recently too. Um, it doesn't have a video. That's okay. The artwork's really pretty, but she's only got a couple of pieces of artwork. These three. This is all we know. Is this? Um, She also doesn't have any other information other than it's going to be a 78 card deck. She says, primary risk for this project is potential for delay. I'm a full-time student and fit this project into my spare time. Uh, she doesn't even have the illustrations done. So this is I'm not entirely certain. I feel like she jumped the gun on this one. That she She really jumped the gun on this one. I would like, I'm hoping that she'll get the artwork completed and then come back and relaunch because a lot of decks that don't work out or fail the first time around will do a relaunch, and I really hope that she does that because I don't see this succeeding if she doesn't even have all of the artwork done, and that she's concerned about it getting delayed because she's in school still. I feel like that's going to be interesting. This is a fun deck that came out recently, the Tarot de Tango. So if you were really into the tango scene, this might be for you. Ah! Loud.
Tarot and Tango. Tango and Tarot. Two worlds meet and give life to the Tarot del Tango. A universe where the symbols of the Tarot merge with the unique art of tango. Marian Costa and Ana Groch embellish the Tarot del Tango with their text, feelings, and wisdom in a book catalog of 228 pages that tell us about the arcana, revealing the articulation between both worlds.
I love this narrator.
I feel very happy and privileged to have been a part of the project of Tarot del Tango because both tarot and tango are my passions, because I think they're both very healthy activities and I think they have very deep interconnections which the readers and players will discover when they get that wonderful deck.
Nice.
In the Tarot del Tango, the cups are champagne glasses. The swans become facones. The pentacles have been the typical tango street lamps. The wands have given transformed in bandoneones, the real spirit of the milonga.
The major arcana were made by 22 artists from the Rio de la Plata, who express themselves with very different disciplines.
Yeah,
Painting,
that's definitely in there. 22 different artists, that's neat.
photography. Each card is a unique work of art. Tarot del Tango. Original. Different. Universal. With your contribution, you can make the Tarot del Tango a reality.
Fun. So it's almost halfway to its goal. So that's really cool. Um, this is kind of fun. I will be honest, all I really know about tango is what I learned from watching a movie called Strictly Ballroom. And if you haven't seen it, it's kind of a B-rated movie, but it's kind of fun, and it definitely lots of dancing and kind of pageantry and stuff. And of course, there's the kind of almost Romeo and Juliet without the death type of feel to it. Um, so, but that's literally all I know about tango is from that movie, Strictly Ballroom. I would love to learn how to do tango. However, I just don't think my ankles are going to handle it, especially not after this week. Uh, so it looks like they've got quite a bit of information here in the pledges. Oh, goodness. And all sorts of different little fun things you can get. So I'm wondering who they got to produce this that they're able to get. Oh, they're doing matte colors. Okay, that explains it. Because I'm looking at their I'm looking at their total here, the 3,300. I'm like, now wait a minute. They're doing 300 GSM though. So, well, this is fun. I can definitely see somebody who really is into dancing really wanting to to go all in on a deck like this, even if nothing more than to have some iconography that they could maybe frame and put up in their kitchen or maybe their dance room. So, and I love that they decided to contract and work with different artists to produce this deck. I always think decks that have, well, there's always going to be a place in my heart for decks that, of course, that are have an overall theme and love, like, Midnight City, where it's very one it's one artist and there's a very core color scheme going on there. Um, or the Pazzle deck, which is kind of the same thing, only on the opposite end of the light and dark spectrum. But I have a soft spot for decks like the Allymans or whatever, where they take from all different artworks and stuff, and I just think that's so fun because it becomes a community effort then to produce and publish this deck, and it shows how art and tarot both can really bridge a gap between people of different types, because I'm pretty certain that not all of these artists that illustrated these cards love Tango. Maybe it was just like, it was I'm going to try this, type of project type of thing. Because I can honestly speak to that as an artist, where sometimes you get challenged to create something that maybe is not necessarily in your niche, but it brings something out of you that it becomes so much more. Uh, and I just like I few years, well, okay, it's been more than a few years now, but I did a piece that was shown in Italy where it was an oversized bookmark, and the theme was blue planet, so like, the blue color of the planet. And it was kind of a difficult project for me because, well, I've done bookmark designs before, and I've done postcard designs and journal designs and planner designs and stuff. An oversized bookmark, it was such a unique size, and when you're used to working within certain particular project dimensions, having something that's such a different size or a different theme or whatever than you're used to working in, it challenges you, but in a good way as an artist. So, I'm hoping that that's kind of what this deck did, was is kind of brought people together in that type of sort of thing. All right. So we're gonna cover a couple more, and then unfortunately I have to bounce. I'm not gonna be able to get to everything today, because I gotta run some stuff to my husband at work. All right. So this is the Shea. I'm Shea Mystical Tarot deck. It says it's a rare 92 card deck which features the fifth element of spirit. Ooh. So this is fun. I'm kind of now scared to watch this because I hope I don't end up adding it to my wish list. All right, let's go. Let's look at this. Oh, by Sarah Roberts, illustrated by Shinkal Parikh. Well, I'm loving it already. I might have to start turning the sound off to these because I'm pretty certain already that this music is copyrighted. I'm already loving the iconography I'm seeing on this. I can't back another deck this month. I can't. Somebody stop me. Oh, they have an ambitious goal though. I'm gonna share. I haven't shared the other side. I'm gonna share this one out right now. Okay. All right, Twitter, can you behave? Oh, look at the artwork. Oh, I see what they did. They didn't do it with. They did it based on the elements, not like wands, cups, you know, coins or pentacles or whatever. I love how easy these are to read too. Oh. Eh. I saved it. I did it. I did the thing. At some point, I'm gonna have to stop, like, I don't want to stop promoting these, but at the same time, it's just like, people come out with so many good projects. Okay. So it says originally independently designed 5 element tarot deck featuring 92 cards. 5 element minor arcana cards and 22 major arcana cards, along with the deck as a guidebook. Oh, thank God. Um, which examines the deeper meaning of the tarot system and an advanced look at the consciousness and process of becoming more self-aware, which is always a good thing. Um, let's look at. I want to look at. Oh my God, this artwork is just gorgeous. So pretty. Oh, card specs. Okay, this is what I needed to see here. Oh, they are going white core. Interesting. Not black core. But 350 GSM. That's good. That's good. Rigid box. Honestly, I'm okay with decks that don't have rigid boxes. I really am. I'm okay with tuck boxes, and I'm okay with decks that. I mean, I guess it gives it an extra little magical touch to have a fancy, like, rigid core box, or a box that has the flip with the magnetic lid. But I don't necessarily need it because it makes it hard for sometimes a little harder to carry around. Um, and it, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's one way or it's I don't know. I guess I could go both ways. In some ways it's good. In some ways it's like, I don't care. But gilded edges, okay. Foil printing, nice. Full color booklet. Wow, that's well. They are looking for 18,000 though, so that makes sense if they're gonna go full color booklet. Um, eco-friendly. Ooh. Says using an eco-friendly printing company, Ludo Cards, in Italy with a 100% sustainable approach. Ooh. I wonder how they're going to be handling this though if they're getting it printed over in Italy and then but they're based out of Cedar Rapids. That'll be interesting. I wonder then if that's part of the reason why their budget's so high is they've got import fees going on there, because importing out from overseas has gotten kind of like cray cray and fee wise. Uh, t- 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 I'll have to research these dimensions and see what they come on up as in inches. But oh goodness, I'm so sorry, guys. And here's the cards: Ace, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. Okay, I love that they are using. Now, this is less of a all genders representative deck. It seems more like heavy on the feminine side. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I think there's a place for inclusive decks, and I think there's a place that are more geared towards women empowerment as well. I think there's a place for every single type of those decks. Um, but I love that they're not using the traditional knight, page, queen, king, but instead they're using different archetypes based on the element. This is a very interesting concept and one that I would like to actually see more people do, to be perfectly honest. I love that they went with kind of a more rainbow coloring theme for spirit. I like that a lot. This is a really, really, really nice deck, and I really hope they succeed in their funding. I really do. This is a really pretty deck. So let's move on. Okay, so the last one I want to show you guys, which surprisingly is almost funded. This one just popped up recently on my radar, and it is called Today's Tech Tarot. Now, why I thought this was so funny was somebody took digital speak and turned it into a tarot deck. And the inner former IT tech in me is laughing her ass off. So I got to show you guys some of these cards. So the gal that's putting this together, uh, she doesn't have a lot of information on here. So I'm really hoping the deck turns out well. Um, but like some of these, like, oh goodness, this is the magician card, and it's like it shows somebody who's juggling like multiple different social media type accounts and stuff. I just think that's hilarious. It says new high score. Um, so and so have exchanged a record number of likes, and it's called the Lovers. I just think that's great. Um, the Hermit chat is on do not disturb until I turn off. Just like they're very tongue in cheek, but they're very appropriate for each of the themes. And she has done such a good job of taking these these into the realm of like I really would love to I really wish that she already had like a mock-up of these so I could see what they looked like reading wise, because I almost want to get this deck just because it's so funny, you know. I This is not one I'm actually going to pledge at, but I'm going to kind of track her and watch and see how it goes. But oh my goodness, this is account secured. Your account information has been secured. Enable two-factor authentication. Select security questions. The star. Submitting, and then it's like endless. Like while you're waiting. Like okay, today 7 of actions, or 7 of wands. Which 7 of wands calls for taking action. So these are all really well thought out. Um, just really well thought out. Oh, I love this one. Recent activity. So and so has unfollowed you, has removed you from the friends list, has unsubscribed. 3 of attention or 3 of swords. 3 of swords is a need for um, interaction with people and stuff, or lack of thereof. So these were all really well done, and I really hope that this comes to fruition just because it's funny as hell. Um, And I honestly, I kind of want to see some of these as like stickers. If this was a sticker pack, I'd be all over it because I would be like, yes, 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 yes. But she says the biggest risk of this project is there could be a delay, production delay once the order is sent to the printer. The deck is already complete. The files are prepared for printing, so at least she's got the files done. Um, and I think people are honestly backing this deck because it is freaking hilarious and really well done. Her goal is really modest too for a printing goal. So I don't know, like where she's getting it printed from, how big the cards are, all of that. She does kind of go into little updates on like, goodness. Sorry. Oh, okay. So box design. Okay. The Fool. Oh, I love it. Log in or sign up. Username, password, confirm password. Oh my goodness. That's so much fun. But yeah, so this is a fun little deck. It looks like it's gonna make its goal, and it's still got 25 days to go. But it is fun, and sorry if you guys are hearing that, the sirens. We've got craziness going on out here in the Pacific Northwest right now. We normally at this time in April, we're coming towards the end of what we call monsoon season. So usually it's still raining like every day or every other day. But fire season has already started out here. They issued a red flag warning last night. What that means is that we're not in phase one, get ready. Red flag means no, like, cancel burning, don't burn your trash, don't burn your weeds, because usually at this point we don't have to worry about anything. It's still wet and damp, and it's usually not towards like middle of summer, or yeah, about middle of summer that they put a burn ban in place and tell people, okay, you can't burn your grass clippings or whatever, because a lot of people do that out here for some reason. So So it's a little crazy, and then of course tourist season has already started, which I kind of figured was going to happen, because last year like there wasn't a tourist season because we were in the height of the pandemic, and so this year everybody's like, they got cabin fever, so they're itching to get out. So we've had a lot of people here unusually at this time of year on the coast. So there's been lots of sirens lately. And I'm just really hoping that everybody stays safe. Anyways, so this is a really fun deck. I really hope it succeeds. And I want to thank you guys all for being here and listening to me ramble on tonight. And I really hope that you guys will give these decks a look and, check out some of the other decks on Kickstarter and stuff. There hasn't been a lot of new stuff recently on Indiegogo, so I keep coming back to Kickstarter. It seems like tarot decks and oracle decks do better on Kickstarter than they do on Indiegogo. I'm not entirely certain why that is, but yet certain like comic books and stuff seem to do better over on Indiegogo than they do on Kickstarter. So it's just the difference in platforms, I guess. Uh, but this is a fun little deck, and I really hope it succeeds. I'm gonna go ahead and share that out. But I thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully next week I'll be back in the office again. If you guys notice, I'm in my bedroom again. I really am trying to not do more recordings from the bedroom. Unfortunately, I'm somewhat still laid up, which is going to make driving fun. Because I had a disagreement with a pothole on Monday evening, and the pothole won when my right ankle gave out, and I went down hard and thankfully didn't fall into traffic. That almost happened. I did, however, bring traffic to its stop, and my pride is kind of injured as well because that was terribly embarrassing. Uh, but I'm okay, or I will be okay. I'm taking care of myself, and hopefully I'll be back to where I can sit in my office and you guys can see the pretty backdrop rather than my severely needing painted taupe-ish green walls. Um, and I will see you all hopefully next week. Be on the lookout for the vlog on Saturday. I know I didn't post one last week. You guys wouldn't have liked it. It was like I was just not in a good place last week for various reasons. And I'll go into that in this week's vlog. Anyways, ta ta! Bye!